Hey everyone, this is Bill Jager with another video, and today we're going to talk about learning to code. This is something that I've seen a lot of activity. Of course, you hear all kinds of interesting things about what happens if you lose a job or if you need to gain a new skill. It's the fallback saying is you need to learn to code. And if you are interested in that at all, we're going to cover some topics on that today, and some answers that I think you'll find interesting. So, famous quote of the day for this topic anyway. One of my most productive days was throwing away 1,000 lines of code. Ken Thompson. So, getting into the Learn to Code post, um, kind of the subheading here is seriously, and it's free. You will actually be amazed. At least I was, about how many free resources there are as far as learning how to code, learning what some of this computer science stuff is all about, and getting into certain classes or certain programs that are actually free, at least to get you started. And if you had to go on from there, it may be something that you pay for down the road. But you can actually learn to code for free, and there's going to be some interesting little tidbits here that we're going to touch on. But the other day I was on Twitter, and like it says here, it's a for good, for good or bad. It's actually a great resource if you know how to use it, and if you keep all the bad stuff out of the way, if that's possible. But I was looking, and there's a guy. His name's Arjun Kocher. Arjun listed the title of the best resources out there for learning to code for free. And it kind of caught my eye, and I had to check it out. But this is a quick summary of some of the key points that Arjun made. Um, it's really interesting because if you actually dig your heels in a little bit and you learn to even do some simple coding, you can make good money. And if you really dig it, if you really dig it, you really get into it, you can make great money. It can change your life. So there are some resources here. Of course, if you ever wanted to hire somebody to code for you, you could actually type in that in the search bar over here at Fiverr, and there's some other resources as well. So here's a couple of resources for you. W3 Schools, and their mission statement is this: the largest web developer site on the internet, 3 billion pages displayed each year, 60 million visitors every month. They are a school for web developers. They cover all aspects of web development, from HTML to XML and skills in between. Um, they've got a really great resource that's free. It caters to developers that could be really anywhere around the world. Um, and here's kind of a cool thing. I'll click into this for a second. It's a code game that actually teaches you how to, at least some of the basics of how to code. So you just go over here, you tap on the forward button, and then you play the code, and there you go. It's kind of addicting actually after a while. But it's something that just teaches you some of the very key basics of what coding could be. And I think it's interesting. It's a very useful little tool here. But they will go into all kinds of different different um, setups and programs and intros to learning how to code. Number two, and now this one I have heard of before. It is CodeAcademy, and I didn't really know that they were so vast and varied in all of their teachings, but they, they're one of the biggest and the best at what they do. As always, all of this stuff is linked so that you can actually go there if you're on the website. They've got a really cool quiz on how to find your programming personality. So sometimes there are different personalities fit different types of coding. So that was news to me, and so you may find that you got an aptitude in some one of these disciplines, and you didn't even know it. So it's a great program. But you can see here the basic program is $0. It's free, and then you can go into the pro levels and doing some different things with teams. So really great resource. It's something, if you have any interest, or you know somebody that has an interest in coding, give it a try. Okay, here's Exorcism. It's actually a not-for-profit organization. It has a lot of incredible tracks that go very deep into programming. Um, we can click on this, and you'll see that there's all kinds of statistics and some discussions on what the organization's about. But lots of solutions submitted, lots of conversations, communities, mentors, 2,500 mentors in 29 different time zones. That's very useful. So check that out. Hacker.io. Okay, it's hacker without the E. It's a crowdsourced platform that acts as a gatekeeper of education for the various learn to code platforms available. So you've got sort of a community that's policing itself in a way, but they're coming up with lots of free to paid, sort of programs. It's got a huge list of all the different types of languages that you can take a course on: Python, Java, C, PHP, JavaScript, all these things that are key to being a useful programmer and coder. So it's a very cool bunch of resources here that I think it would be actually be very useful for like I said, you or anybody else that has any inkling into the coding world. And there's also, we'll take a quick look at this. There's a YouTube video that I put on here, or it's a link to the YouTube videos that even have some further discussions on introduction to programming, full course, and just kind of a good example of some of these YouTube resources. There's so many of them, so feel free to check that out. And finally, if you aren't sure or quite sure of these skills, if these are the skills that you want to gain, but you are still intent on making millions, you still have a ton of interest in starting your own business and venturing out, I would encourage you to take a look at the Millionaire Shortcut. It's one of the greatest books, greatest intros to understanding how to become an entrepreneur that I've ever seen, and I think it's worth your time. So check that out. If I could be of help, give me a shout over here on the contact page, and that is it. Have a great day, great weekend. We'll talk to you later.